It wasn't supposed to be real news, the story from the Babylon Bee. Ingenious move. Trump supports impeachment, forcing Democrats to oppose. Why, in fact, it's an old joke. The idea is that everything Trump supports, Democrats must oppose. He is always wrong. The actual joke is, if Trump came out in favor of oxygen, Democrats would hold their breath. So in a literal genius move, Donald Trump came out to support the idea that the DNC and the media establishment are rigging the primary against Bernie Sanders. And they actually got not just Bernie Sanders, but even at least one left-wing activist site to push back on the idea that impeachment actually hurts Bernie or that the system is rigged against Bernie. To an extent, I want to be fair. But what I see here, this response from Bernie Sanders to Donald Trump when he was saying, yeah, the system is rigged against Bernie, I find to be, well, I'll just put it this way. It's a sign of complete weakness. The system is absolutely rigged against Bernie Sanders. You don't have to like the guy to recognize how they're doing him wrong. Today, I want to show you what's going on with the rigging of the primary against Bernie Sanders, and I want to explain to you why I think this shows Bernie Sanders is not fit to be the president. I'm sorry. I know the Bernie Sanders supporters are going to get really, really angry at me for saying this, but listen, Bernie has showed us several times that he is unwilling to stand up for himself. One of the things Donald Trump did right in 2016 was he was a bully, and you might not like that. But he did not take flack from anybody. Trump pushes other people around, and Americans, they like it whether you like it or not. People want to see their commander-in-chief is strong. And I'm going to show you several examples of how Bernie Sanders gets pushed around and then does nothing about it. In fact, comes out against Trump just because Trump said, yeah, it's rigged against you. So let's get started with this story from Common Dreams. The real news, not the satire, the actual story. Let's be clear about who is rigging what. Bernie Sanders denounces Trump effort to divide Democrats. 2020 candidate says the only reason for impeachment trial is president's effort to use the power of the federal government for his own political benefit. Before we get started, head over to timcast.com/donate if you would like to support my work. There's several ways you can give. The best thing you can do, share this video. Yeah, well, Sanders supporters are not going to be happy with it, but I'm sorry. I understand there's a few different issues surrounding the idea of rigging the system against Bernie. I, for one, actually disagree that Nancy Pelosi is staging the impeachment to hurt Bernie Sanders, but I'm not the only one who thinks that, and it was actually left-wing activists who first proposed the idea. Therein lies the strange paradox of Bernie now opposing an idea put forth by his own supporters. There's a couple different ways the system is being rigged against Bernie Sanders. The first, we all saw it. And I'll get through what happened with CNN and Warren and the hit pieces. But I believe it was actually Jacobin, the socialist magazine, that said impeachment is designed to hurt Bernie. Think about it. Impeachment is driving up Trump's approval rating. Impeachment has less than majority support. It's actually majority opposition. And Trump has fundraised beautifully off of it. It's certainly not going to hurt the president, and no one thinks he's going to be acquitted. So a lot of people are asking why they do it. Now, I know I've mentioned it several times, but I need to point this out to explain why this is insane that Common Dreams is arguing Bernie's right here. This is going to take Bernie Sanders off the campaign trail, Warren as well as Bennett and Klobuchar. And it serves to help Joe Biden by crippling his opponents in the primary. It was actually left-wing progressive activists arguing that this was designed to hurt Bernie Sanders. Well, lo and behold, Donald Trump tweets. Actually, let me make sure I can pull up the full tweet here on Twitter. Donald Trump tweets, "They are rigging the election again against Bernie Sanders, just like the last time. Only even more obviously. They are bringing him out of so important Iowa in order that, as a senator, he sit through the impeachment hoax trial. Crazy Nancy thereby gives the strong edge to sleepy Joe Biden, and Bernie is shut out again. Very unfair. But that's the way the Democrats play the game. Anyway, it's a lot of fun to watch." We can see Scott Adams says, basically the Dems are impeaching Bernie. Here's the thing. It was progressive activists that proposed the idea. Donald Trump then agrees with it, and lo and behold, the man himself, Bernie Sanders. Let's be clear about who is rigging what. It is Donald Trump's action to use the power of the federal government for his own political benefit that is the cause of the impeachment trial. Democrats are going to unite to sweep him out of the White House in November. Now, here's the thing. Like I said, it was the left that proposed that idea. Trump then tweets that idea out, and Bernie pushes back on what his own supporters had been saying. It is just like the Babylon Bee article. Trump supporting impeachment, forcing Democrats to oppose. Okay, Bernie. The system is clearly rigged against Bernie Sanders. Will he not stand up for himself? Apparently not. And it's really frustrating to me. You know, I was a big fan of him back in 2016. I mean, primarily because what was I supposed to do? Vote for Hillary? No, thank you. But Bernie has shown time and time again, it's just not the case. They say this in Common Dreams. While it's true the impeachment trial against Trump in the Senate will keep Sanders as well as Warren off the campaign trail in the crucial weeks ahead of the Iowa caucus on February 3rd, Sanders told reporters in Washington, D.C. Thursday that while he would rather be talking to potential voters in key early states, quote, I swore a constitutional oath as a U.S. Senator to do my job, and I'm here to do my job. Sanders said that even with the importance of the trial before the Senate, we cannot forget the very serious problem facing the American people. While we go forward with this impeachment, he added, I hope the American people understand that we have not forgotten that in this country outside of D.C. today, there are millions of people who are struggling economically. Yeah, we get the point. He literally came out because the president supported the idea they're rigging it against Bernie. Now, let me show you a few things. Everyone knows it's being rigged against Bernie, and I want to shine some light on this. The problem I see is that Bernie Sanders will not defend himself, and that shows me I'm going to say it's bold, he's unfit to be the president, okay? Listen, Trump is unfit, in my opinion, for other reasons. I can recognize all of the things he's accomplished in terms of foreign policy, like crossing into the DMZ for me was huge in North Korea. The economy is doing really, really well. I don't want to say, I don't think it's necessarily fair for me to think Trump is completely unfit, right? I know Tulsi Gabbard has been a lot more strong on that. I would put it this way. I think there's things about Trump that make me believe we should have someone else be president. But I think, depending on your argument, there's a lot of reasons why Trump is doing a good job as president. So maybe it was a little bold for me to say unfit. Not my choice. That's the way I would put it. I want to try and frame it like this because I don't think Trump is literally the devil. I just think he's not my choice. Like I'm the more I see Andrew Yang, the more excited I get. Check this out. CNN Sanders hit piece is a journalistic outrage. This is from TruthDig. Left-wing activists pointing out CNN is smearing him, okay? You probably heard the story. Elizabeth Warren claiming that Bernie told her a woman couldn't be president. Now, I have heard from the progressive activists, and I will tell you why they are wrong, why Bernie never said this. All right? Now maybe some Bernie supporters might actually like what I'm about to say. Bernie would never tell Elizabeth Warren a woman couldn't be the president. On the debate stage, CNN actually takes it a step further. They ask Bernie Sanders, and I know many of you probably heard what happened. They said, are you saying you never told Warren a woman couldn't win? And Bernie says, that's correct. They immediately go to Warren and say, how did you feel when Bernie told you a woman couldn't win? And she says, I disagree. CNN then releases the hot mic audio after the fact in a totally unethical move, in my opinion, showing Warren say, I think you called me a liar on national TV. All of a sudden, we see the DNC stands and the crony, the corporate Democrat type saying, we must believe all women. Do you want to know why it's absurd that Bernie would say this and why he didn't? It's just, you have to be nuts to think it's true. And you're probably lying if you're going to try and convince me that it's true. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. Not only has Bernie Sanders said in 87 and 88 and over again, a woman can and should be president, Hillary Clinton won the popular votes. Why would Bernie then go to Warren 2 years later and say a woman can't be president? The progressives argue. Okay, so here's what David Pakman argued. He tweeted that he thinks the conversation happened, but both remember it differently. Many people said that Bernie was probably saying something like the United States is too, bigoted to support a woman. None of that makes sense unless you think Bernie is an idiot because Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. Clearly, a woman can win the presidency. Who would think otherwise? I guess woke intersectional leftists. I have no idea. But the media has been rigging the whole thing against Bernie. Why won't he stand up for himself? I'm actually more offended by this than anything else. I used to watch a lot of TV shows growing up. Many of you probably did. And you know what I can't stand more than anything? TV shows about losers who won't do what they need to do to succeed. I'm not going to get into the specifics of TV shows. I'll keep this on to politics, and I'll show you, even Bill Maher calling out Elizabeth Warren for playing the woman card. Why can't Bernie grow a spine and stand up and say, this is absurd. Why would I say that after Hillary Clinton won the popular vote? It's just not true. Warren is mistaken. Grow a spine. He doesn't. Instead, he says, no, Trump, you're rigging the election. And then his own supporters now turn on the idea they put forward. How insane is it that simply because Trump said it, now it must not be true? Can you seriously imagine what's going on here? You look at what Trump does policy-wise. I think Trump's a bad character. And I talk to Trump supporters all the time. They agree. But they voted for him for a reason. I didn't. Okay? I don't like that behavior. Andrew Yang at one point was insulting Trump and calling him a fat slob and stuff. I don't like that either. Okay? But when Trump does something, they say it's bad. The economy is good. Democrats say it's bad. Trump wants to pull troops out of the Middle East. It's bad. He wants to send troops to the Middle East. It's bad. It's always bad. Leftists say they're rigging against Bernie. Impeachment is designed to hurt him. That's why Pelosi is holding up the articles for 2 weeks. And they all start hooting and hollering. Trump comes out and agrees. It's bad. It's wrong. Bernie must reject it. That is an insane way to do politics. Even Bill Maher ragging on Warren. Everyone knows what's being played up is complete nonsense. Let's go back in time. Asked if DNC system was rigged in Clinton's favor, Warren says yes. November 3rd, 2017. Why can't Bernie Sanders come out and be like, the system is clearly rigged against me? I understand there's political reasons. They're going to scream he's a conspiracy theorist and all that stuff. But to come out against the idea that it's why would you do that either? You know what, man? Remember that moment? And I think I have the article when the activists took the stage from Bernie and he backs off and bows down. Donald Trump would never do that. Look, man, you can like Bernie's policies. You can agree with him policy-wise, but you have to understand that when he won't stand up for himself, it shows people he's not strong enough, let alone the dude had a heart attack. And again, I know the Bernie supporters are going to be furious about this one. The dude had a heart attack, okay? He's nearing 80 years old. This already puts him in a really weak position against Donald Trump and many others. I understand Trump's old as well. So they're all old. But I'll tell you this, man, Bernie, you got to stand up for yourself. We know CNN is rigging everything. The Bernie Sanders subreddit banned all content from CNN, saying it was like, malpractice. It was journalistic, a lack of journalistic ethics. We know the game is rigged. Everyone knows it. And because Trump came out, Bernie says, no, it's Trump who's rigging the game. So I don't know if you saw this one. I did cover it the other day. They say a Bernie Sanders subreddit has banned all content from CNN over the network's coverage of the presidential candidate. A moderator with Sanders for president, which has more than 373,000 members, announced the decision on Wednesday following the presidential debate in Des Moines, Iowa. The Post argues that CNN, which hosted Tuesday's evening debate, has abandoned their journalistic integrity in an effort to derail Sanders' campaign. You know they've been doing it the whole time? Take a look at this. This is from February 28th of this year. Of last year. Paste reports CNN Bernie Sanders town hall included questioner with Hillary Clinton ties. It wasn't just that. A bunch of the people in the town hall who were asking questions were actually DNC-like operatives in some capacity, donors to the Democratic campaign. And CNN was like, oh, we should have told people that. Listen, I have no problem calling out the fix. I like Bernie for his honesty. I do not like him for his weakness. He's weak. You know what? He is weak. Take a look at this article. Inside Hillary Clinton's secret takeover of the DNC, November 2nd, 2017, Donna Brazile outlines how there were supposed to be donations being set up that would go to the Democratic primary winner, but people were already saying it was for Hillary Clinton. The whole thing from the top down was rigged against him, and the dude can't even stand up for himself. Why should I support that? It's about to get a whole lot worse. I'm gonna get angry on this one. From January 17th, the Sanders campaign researched whether Warren could be both vice president and Treasury Secretary at once. Why is this story coming out? Well, it's because I guess even progressives don't want to stand up to Hillary Clinton. Now, look, I get it. Okay, you want to beat Donald Trump. You don't want him in office, and you'll do whatever it takes. But why would you consider Elizabeth Warren at this point? Everyone's called her a liar. Progressives and Democratic socialists have called her a liar. They call her a crony capitalist. She's been referred to as Hillary Clinton wearing a Bernie Sanders mask, or just as Hillary Clinton 2.0 or something like that. Yet there is still calls for unity. No, we must not fight each other. We must defend the woman who is smearing our candidate. We must push back on Trump when he argues Pelosi's hurting our candidate. You know what, man? This is why Bernie is going to lose. And this is the problem I have with the Bernie camp. You know, Bernie Sanders endorsed Hillary Clinton in 2016, and that to me was a punch right in the gut. Because I was like, I want to see Bernie win. And then he's like, I'm endorsing Hillary Clinton. Why? Why? After Bernie Sanders said Hillary Clinton was not fit to be president. I kid you not. He said it. Look up the article. I'm sorry, I don't have it pulled up. I should have the source. He said Hillary Clinton wasn't fit. Then he endorses her. Yeah, because they hate Trump that much. They hate him so much that even when he agrees with them, they then turn around and disagree with him. How does that make sense? How do you work that way? Listen, there are a bunch of other reasons why Bernie Sanders is not fit. First, as I noted, Black Lives Matter activists disrupt Bernie Sanders' speech. This was one of the first times a lot of people saw Bernie Sanders' weakness. You know, this is the most aggressive I've been towards a politician for a while. And I'll tell you again, it's because I get frustrated when people don't stand up for themselves. I understand not everybody can. And I understand that sometimes people need leaders to defend them. Not everybody is strong. But Bernie Sanders is running to be the president of the United States. If he can't stand up for himself, how will he stand up for America? Look at this. Black Lives Matter activists stormed the stage. They say this. Black Lives Matter activists interrupted Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders at a rally in Seattle, stopping the politician from speaking at the first of two engagements he had attended on Saturday. The activists took over the rally at a city park marking the anniversary of Social Security and Medicare before Sanders could even speak, according to The Hill. Two women and a man from the Seattle chapter of Black Lives Matter shoved Sanders aside, grabbed the microphone, and addressed the crowd. After some confusion, campaign officials allowed the group to take the stage for 4.5 minutes to commemorate the 4.5 hours Michael Brown lay in the streets of Ferguson. I get it. If you want to argue that Bernie Sanders was trying to give space to Black Lives Matter, fine. Okay, fine. Okay. But at a certain point, with everything that's gone on, I feel like Bernie Sanders doesn't have the strength to defend himself. And if he can't do that, he can't defend me or the people who disagree with him. The president has to be the president for everybody. If he's coming out and blaming Trump when Trump actually agreed with the left-wing argument that the impeachment was hurting Bernie Sanders, what? How is he going to defend the people of this country that he doesn't agree with? There's also this. I bring this one up a lot, and people don't believe me that it's real. That's right. Bernie Sanders said, when you're white, you don't know what it's like to be poor. From PolitiFact, they deemed it false. Most poor people in this country are white. I have told this to many people, and they say that's not true. That never happened. Yes, it did happen. Bernie Sanders said it on the debate stage. I don't know why, because Bernie had always been a champion of the working class, and for some reason, I'll tell you why. I think it's because the consultants told me to say it. That's my opinion. They said, hey, man, the activists of the Democratic Party are woke, and if you don't push this line, they won't vote for you. Hillary Clinton's a woman. She's going to get the woman vote. She's going to get the intersectional vote because of that, and Bernie had to do what he had to do to win. I believe that since 2016, I have continually seen Bernie Sanders push BS positions for the sake of trying to win. And that's what soured me on him. Because I'll tell you this, Jimmy Dore, okay, left-wing commentator, was on Joe Rogan, and he's like, Trump just blurts these things out and just tells you. People like it. People don't like this. Bernie, this is false. PolitiFact is calling it false. Why would you say it? Bernie knows better. I just did not believe Bernie thought that was true. I saw him on the stage say that, and I'm like, he's lying. Why? It's an insane lie. Because Bernie doesn't have the strength to stand up for what he believes in and his own positions. And because of that, I don't think he's fit to be president. But I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention there is still media bias that does favor him. James O'Keefe tweeted, actually, let me show you the first tweet. Axios tweeted this story. A viral video from right-wing Project Veritas about a Bernie Sanders field organizer underscores how splintered the partisan digital universe is and how difficult it is to get different slices of the electorate to pay attention to the same things. James O'Keefe responded, it actually underscores the partisan nature of legacy media and its refusal to report the news. If a paid Republican Iowa State organizer was talking about killing people or putting those who disagree with the candidate in re-education camps, the below would not be your narrative. And the journalist who exposed that shocking tape of the Republicans saying those things would not be labeled left-wing. This is why people don't, I'm assuming you meant trust the media. All the media has is narrative, labels, hearsay, anonymous quotes, characterizations, and defamation lawsuit settlements. While I can point out that the machine is rigged against Bernie, this shows me that the machine's actually more rigged against Donald Trump. But Trump has, I'm sorry, he has strength. Look, I'm not saying you have to like him or Bernie. That's never my position. But you have to recognize American voters want to see someone, they want the person in charge to be the bully. Think about it. Imagine you're in high school or grade school, and there's a bully who says, if you elect me class president, I won't let anyone bully you because I'm the bully and I'm going to go push people around. Or you've got the nerdy guy who's getting bullied. Yeah, everyone's picking on the nerdy guy and you're going to vote for him? No, I want the bully standing in front of me because then he's going to be like, vote for me, I got your back. Yeah, okay, I'll vote for you. You don't got to like the guy. You might not even agree with him, but you're at least like, look, the commander-in-chief needs to be tough. I'm not going to pick Bernie Sanders. You know what, man? I actually like Bernie so much more than most of the other Democrats because he's honest. Not all the time. I just ragged on him for being a liar. But he's willing to be honest about some things. I will admit, I liked him a lot more in 2016 because I really did feel he was really honest. Now I feel he's just a little bit more honest. And I can respect when he says, like, we're going to raise your taxes and stuff. Take a look at this story. I want to bring it back to the point about how the media still does help the left more than Trump. We can see this story basically complaining, well, maybe not complaining, but pointing out how Project Veritas's story on the Bernie Sanders campaign staffer got more interactions and engagements than the Elizabeth Warren story. But what was covered in the media? Not Project Veritas. I look at Veritas and I don't care if he's conservative or not. If he uncovers malfeasance and wrongdoing, then he's doing journalism. It doesn't matter if you're conservative or liberal. But we can still see the system is rigged. I'll tell you how rigged it is. We'll wrap this all together. The media isn't carrying the Project Veritas story. Trump will. Trump will use that against Bernie, absolutely, if Bernie wins the nomination, and he might. But you look at how the media is framing the whole political battle, and Bernie targets Trump. The left goes after Trump when he even agrees with them. That's how the bias works. That's how insane it is. Project Veritas says, hey, look, Bernie done wrong, and the media says, nope, not interested. Everyone else was. It got more engagements. Trump comes out and says, you know what? I actually agree with that left-wing talking point, the progressive talking point, that impeachment is hurting Bernie. And Bernie comes out against him. That's how the bias works. So I don't know, man. I'll leave it there. I know I'm going to get all the Bernie people really, really angry, but so be it. There's no defense for Bernie refusing to stand up for himself after all of this. After everything I have laid out, Bernie won't stand up and say no. What did Bernie stand up to? Let me, you know what? I'm getting really angry. Bernie won't stand up to the machine being rigged against him, but he'll stand up and yell at the guy who agreed with his own supporters. Think about that for 2 seconds. The machine rigs it against Bernie. CNN rigged against Bernie. DNC against Bernie. Donna Brazile points it out. And I say, there you go, Bernie. Raise your fist in the air and say enough. Donald Trump steps up and says, I agree. They're rigging against Bernie. And Bernie looks to Trump and goes, how dare you? Are you kidding me? That's pathetic. You can, everyone getting your back on this one. I got your back on this one. But when Trump comes out and agrees, you turn around and, you know what? That's pathetic. You can't stand up against the people who are actually messing with your campaign. So you point the finger at Trump and blame him when he agrees? That's nuts, man. That is nuts. I'm done. Next segment's coming up at 6 p.m. YouTube.com/TimCast. Stick around. I'll talk about something more fun, maybe. I don't know, whatever. I'll see you then.